Captain Sam Russell stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant and looked out at the stars. The ship was Earth's newest and most powerful warship. It had technology so new that even most of the crew didn't fully understand it. The Defiant was on patrol near the outer colonies. Humans had spread to many star systems, but they hadn't met any aliens yet. Lieutenant Kate Morris walked up to the captain. She had a worried look on her face. "Sir, our long-range sensors are picking up strange energy readings. They're definitely not human," she said. Russell felt excitement and worry at the same time, but kept his voice calm. "First contact?" "It looks that way, sir." Russell nodded. He had trained for this moment his whole career. "Alert all stations. I want everyone ready, but no aggressive moves. We don't want to start a war by accident." The crew moved with quick purpose. Everyone knew what was at stake. Humanity's first meeting with aliens could set the tone for generations to come. "The unknown ships will be in visual range in 20 minutes, said Paul Johnson from the weapons station. Russell ordered the ship to slow down. "Keep our weapons powered down. Let's not give them any reason to think we're hostile." The minutes ticked by slowly. Russell used the time to send a message back to Earth about the contact. The reply would take days to arrive, so any decisions now were his alone to make. "Visual contact," announced Lisa Coleman from navigation. The main screen showed 7 ships that looked like they were made of crystal. They moved in perfect formation. Their designs were like nothing Russell had ever seen. They had sharp angles and smooth curves that seemed to catch and bend the light of nearby stars. "They're beautiful," whispered Dr. Olivia Clark, the science officer. "And each one is 3 times the size of the Defiant," added Greg Martinez, the chief engineer. Russell straightened his uniform. "Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves." The screen flickered and then showed the inside of the alien ship. A tall being with shiny scales stood looking at them. Its eyes were large and yellow with thin black slits. It wore something that looked like armor made of the same crystal as the ships. "I am Captain Sam Russell of the USS Defiant, representing Earth and the United Colonies. We come in peace and friendship." The alien tilted its head. When it spoke, its mouth didn't match the words they heard. Some kind of translation system was working. "Your species is unknown to us. State your purpose in hierarchy territory." Russell kept his voice friendly. "We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. We didn't know this space was claimed by anyone. We are happy to respect your borders once they are made clear to us." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh, but there was no warmth in it. "I am Commander Zex of the Vorax hierarchy. Your ignorance of our domain is not surprising. Your vessel appears primitive." Russell felt his crew stiffen at the insult, but he kept his cool. "We have much to learn about each other. Perhaps we could arrange a proper meeting between our peoples." Commander Zex's eyes narrowed. "Our scans show your ship has some interesting technology. Primitive, yes, but interesting. Tell me about your weapons." "Our mission is peaceful. We hope we won't need weapons in our dealings with the hierarchy." Zex made that cold, laughing sound again. "Peace is for the strong to give to the weak as a gift. The hierarchy decides who deserves such gifts." Russell didn't like where this was going. "Commander, we have no quarrel with the hierarchy. We simply wish to establish friendly relations. Our records show several systems you call colonies are within space the hierarchy plans to claim. This is problematic." Russell felt a chill run down his spine. "Those systems have been settled by humans for generations. They are our homes. And yet, here you are, with just one ship to protect them." Zax leaned closer to the screen. "We have been expanding our influence. Small civilizations like yours usually choose to join us willingly. It saves unpleasantness." "Are you threatening us?" Russell asked, his voice hard now. "Not at all. I am simply explaining how things work in this part of space. The hierarchy grows, others adapt." Russell saw the danger clearly now. This wasn't just first contact, it was first warning. "We would prefer friendship, Commander. But humans protect what's theirs." Zex studied Russell for a long moment. "Return to your home system, Captain. Tell your leaders the hierarchy will be arriving soon to assess your species' worth. You have one standard month before we reach your colonies. Be ready to discuss terms of your surrender then." Before Russell could reply, the screen went black. "They've cut the transmission," Morris said. "The Vorax ships are turning away." "They're just leaving? After a threat like that?" Johnson asked from weapons. "They don't see us as a threat," Russell said quietly. "They looked at our one ship and decided we weren't worth worrying about." Martinez shook his head. "They're in for a surprise if they think all our ships are like the Defiant. They have no idea what we can do." Russell turned to face his crew. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to warn everyone." As the Defiant turned and accelerated to faster than light speed, Russell couldn't help but think about the Vorax commander's dismissive attitude. One ship didn't scare them, but the Vorax didn't know about Project Thunderbolt, the experimental weapons and defense systems the Defiant carried. "They think we're weak," Russell said to Morris as they watched the stars stretch into lines on the view screen. "That's going to be their mistake." For the next 2 weeks, the Defiant raced back toward Earth. The crew spent the time analyzing everything they had learned about the Vorax ships. Dr. Clark studied their biology from the visual record. Martinez focused on their technology. Johnson worked on ways to counter their weapons. Russell knew they were facing something bigger than themselves. A war was coming, and humanity was outnumbered. But humans had faced long odds before and survived, as though Earth finally appeared on their screens. Russell prepared himself for the difficult meetings ahead. He would have to convince High Command to take the threat seriously. Lives would depend on what happened next. What the Vorax didn't understand was that humans were at their most dangerous when cornered. They had dismissed a single human warship as no threat. Soon, they would experience its fury. 2 weeks after the encounter with the Vorax, Captain Sam Russell stood in the large war room at Earth Command. His uniform was crisp, but his eyes showed his lack of sleep. Around a big table sat the most powerful people in human space. Admiral Jane Foster led the meeting. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and her face was serious. "Captain Russell has met the Vorax hierarchy," Admiral Foster said, "and the news isn't good. Play the recording again." The room watched the screen as Commander Zex's cold yellow eyes stared at them. They all heard his threat again. The room was quiet when it ended. "They've given us 1 month before they reach our colonies," Defense Secretary Alan Wright said. He was an older man with a deep voice. "How many ships do they have?" Admiral Foster touched a screen, and a map of space appeared above the table. Red dots showed where Vorax ships had been seen. "Our best guess is over 200 warships," she said. "And those are just the ones we know about." "And what do we have?" asked Wright. 42 combat-ready ships," Foster answered. "Most are older models, not as advanced as the Defiant." The room fell silent. The numbers were not in humanity's favor. "What about evacuating the outer colonies?" someone asked. Foster shook her head. "Not enough time or ships. Millions would be left behind." Russell had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "The Vorax are overconfident. They dismissed the Defiant as no threat. We can use that against them." All eyes turned to him. "What are you suggesting, Captain?" Foster asked. "The Defiant carries Project Thunderbolt," Russell said. "Weapons and defense systems no one has seen in action yet." Dr. Ben Carter stood up. He was the lead scientist for Project Thunderbolt, a thin man with nervous hands. "Those systems are untested in real combat. The gravity manipulation fields, the phase-shifting shields, the antimatter cascades, they're all theoretical applications." "They work in simulations," Russell countered. "Simulations aren't reality," Carter argued. "A million things could go wrong." Russell looked around the room. "The Vorax are coming with 200 ships. They expect us to either surrender or face them, with everything we have. What they don't expect is for us to send just one ship, my ship, behind their lines." Admiral Foster's eyes narrowed. "You're suggesting we send the Defiant alone?" "Yes, ma'am. While the rest of the fleet prepares Earth's defenses, we slip behind enemy lines. We gather intelligence, disrupt their supply lines, and buy humanity time. That's a suicide mission, Wright said bluntly. Russell nodded. Maybe, but it's also our best chance. The Vorax dismissed us as weak. Their arrogance is our advantage. For the next few hours they argued about the plan. Some thought it was too risky. Others couldn't suggest anything better. In the end, Admiral Foster made the decision. The Defiant will go, she said. Captain Russell, you have 3 days to prepare your ship and crew. Choose only volunteers for this mission. Make sure they understand the risks. Russell nodded. Yes, ma'am. As the meeting ended, Dr. Carter approached Russell. If you're really doing this, I'm coming with you. Russell was surprised. You just said the systems might not work. Carter smiled weakly. That's why I should be there. If something goes wrong, I might be able to fix it. Back on the Defiant, Russell called his crew together. He explained the mission and its dangers. Then he said, This is volunteer only. Anyone who wants to stay behind can do so with honor. You have 1 hour to decide. Russell went to his quarters to wait. He looked at a photo of his family and wondered if he would see them again. There was a knock at his door. Enter, he called. Lieutenant Kate Morris came in. Sir, the crew has made their decision. Russell braced himself. How many are staying? Morris smiled. None, sir. Everyone volunteers. Russell felt pride swell in his chest. Thank you, Lieutenant. Tell them I'm honored to serve with them. The next 3 days were a blur of activity. The Defiant was loaded with supplies. Dr. Carter and his team worked around the clock to fine-tune the Thunderbolt systems. The ship's AI system, nicknamed Athena by the crew, was upgraded with the latest Vorax data. Chief Engineer Greg Martinez added his own improvements, integrating Athena deeper into the ship's systems than regulations allowed. If we're going to break the rules, we might as well break them all, he said with a grin when Russell questioned him. On the last day, Admiral Foster came to the Defiant. She walked with Russell through the ship, meeting crew members and wishing them luck. At the airlock, she stopped. This mission could determine the future of our species, she said. No pressure. Russell almost smiled. No pressure at all. Foster looked him in the eyes. The Vorax gave us 1 month before they reach our colonies. That's how long you have to cause as much trouble as you can. We'll do more than cause trouble, Russell promised. We'll show them what happens when they underestimate humans. As Foster left, Russell turned to find his senior officers waiting for him. Final checks are complete, Morris reported. We're ready to go, sir. Russell nodded. Then let's not keep the Vorax waiting. The Defiant slipped away from Earth quietly. No big ceremony, no fanfare. Just a single ship setting out to face an empire. As they reached the jump point that would take them into Vorax space, Russell stood on the bridge. He looked at his crew. Morris at communications, Johnson at weapons, Coleman at navigation, Dr. Clark at science, and Martinez monitoring engineering from the bridge. Once we make this jump, we're on our own, Russell said. No backup, no rescue if things go wrong. We know the risks, Captain, Morris said. The others nodded. Russell smiled. Then let's show the Vorax what one human ship can do. Take us in. Lieutenant Coleman. Coleman's fingers moved over her controls. Jump point calculated. Engaging in 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched and twisted as the Defiant jumped into Vorax space. The hunt had begun. The Vorax had dismissed a single human warship as no threat. Russell intended to make them regret that mistake. Behind enemy lines, with experimental weapons and a brave crew, the Defiant was about to teach the hierarchy a lesson about human determination. And somewhere out there, Commander Zex and his fleet were moving toward human space, not knowing that their worst nightmare had just slipped into their territory. The Defiant moved quietly through Vorax space. 2 weeks had passed since they jumped behind enemy lines. The ship's special cloaking system kept them hidden as they watched the Vorax ships move through the darkness of space. Captain Sam Russell hadn't slept more than 4 hours at a time since they arrived. He stood on the bridge looking at a map of Vorax territory. with little marks showing where they had already caused trouble. "Sir, I have the next target," said Lieutenant Paul Johnson from the weapons station. He pointed to a spot on the map. "It's a fuel depot near Proxima Centauri. The Vorax have taken over the human colony there and are using it as a supply base." Russell studied the location. "How many ships guard it?" "Just 3 small patrol ships. They don't expect any resistance this deep in their territory." Russell nodded. "That's their mistake. Let's make them pay for it. Set course, Lieutenant Coleman." Lisa Coleman entered the coordinates into her navigation system. The Defiant changed direction, moving silently toward their next target. "Doctor." Ben Carter entered the bridge. He looked tired but excited. "Captain, I've made some adjustments to the Thunderbolt targeting system. It should be even more precise now." "Good work, Doctor," Russell said. "We'll need every advantage." The Defiant had been hitting the Vorax where they least expected it. They had destroyed communication relays, attacked supply ships, and caused confusion everywhere they went. Each time they struck quickly and disappeared before the Vorax could respond. Lieutenant Kate Morris laughed as she listened to Vorax communications. "They still don't realize it's just one ship doing all this damage. Their messages suggest they think they're facing a human battle group of at least 10 ships." Russell smiled. "Good. Let them keep thinking that." The ship's AI, Athena, had proven to be extremely valuable. It learned Vorax patterns and could predict their responses with amazing accuracy. Chief Engineer Greg Martinez had connected Athena to more ship systems than the rules allowed, but the results were worth breaking a few regulations. "Captain," Athena's calm voice came through the speakers. "I've detected an interesting pattern in Vorax fleet movements. They appear to be pulling ships from other areas to reinforce their main invasion fleet." "Show me," Russell ordered. A new map appeared on the main screen. It showed Vorax ships moving toward a central location. "They're gathering their forces earlier than expected, Doctor," Olivia Clark said from the science station. "At this rate, they'll reach Earth a week before their ultimatum deadline." Russell's face hardened. "They never planned to give us a full month. They're hoping to catch us unprepared." The bridge was quiet as everyone understood what this meant. Earth was expecting more time to prepare its defenses. "We need to warn Earth," Morris said. "Too risky," Russell replied. "Any message we send could be detected and give away our position. We need to slow them down another way." They reached the fuel depot near Proxima Centauri a few hours later. As expected, only 3 patrol ships guarded it. The human colony below was now controlled by Vorax soldiers. "Scan the colony," Russell ordered. "Are there still humans down there?" Dr. Clark checked her readings. "Yes, sir. About 2,000 colonists. They appear to be under guard but alive." "We can't risk hitting the colony directly," Russell decided. "We focus on the fuel depot in orbit and the patrol ships. Ready weapons, Lieutenant Johnson." "Weapons hot, sir. Thunderbolt targeting system online." "Athena, calculate the patrol routes and find us a blind spot," Russell ordered. "Calculating," the AI responded. After a few seconds, a path appeared on the tactical display. "This approach will keep us in their sensor shadow until we're in optimal firing position. Follow that course, Lieutenant Coleman." The Defiant slipped closer to the fuel depot, hiding in the sensor shadow of the larger structure. When they were in position, Russell gave the order. "Fire." Johnson pressed the firing controls. The Defiant's experimental weapons lit up the darkness of space. Beams of energy that bent and twisted in impossible ways struck the first patrol ship. It exploded instantly. The other patrol ships turned to respond, but they were too slow. The Defiant's weapons fired again, taking out the second ship before it could raise its shields. The third patrol ship managed to send out an alarm before the Defiant destroyed it too. Then they turned their weapons on the fuel depot. Careful targeting hit only the fuel storage areas and avoided the control sections where Vorax and human workers would be. The depot erupted in a series of explosions that lit up space like a new sun being born. "Target destroyed," Johnson reported. "No escape pods from the patrol ships. The depot is crippled but not completely destroyed." "Good," Russell said. "Now, let's get out of here before their reinforcements arrive. Maximum speed, Lieutenant Coleman." The Defiant turned and accelerated away from the burning depot. They were halfway to their next hiding spot when the ship suddenly shook violently. "What was that?" Russell demanded. Vorax warship, Coleman shouted. It came out of nowhere. On the screen, a Vorax cruiser appeared. It was 3 times larger than the Defiant and had its weapons pointed directly at them. Evasive maneuvers, Russell ordered. Coleman's hands flew over her controls as the Defiant twisted and turned. More shots from the Vorax cruiser came close but missed. Return fire, Russell ordered. The Defiant's weapons struck the cruiser, but its shields were stronger than those of the patrol ships. Their shields are holding, Johnson reported. Athena, analyze their shield pattern, Russell said. Analyzing, the AI responded. There is a fluctuation in their aft shield quadrant. Targeting solution uploaded to weapons. Johnson adjusted his aim. Firing. This time, the Defiant's weapons punched through the weak spot in the cruiser's shields. The larger ship shuddered as explosions rippled across its hull. They're disabled but not destroyed, Johnson said. Good enough, Russell replied. Let's go before more show up. The Defiant jumped away, leaving the damaged cruiser behind. But they hadn't escaped unharmed. The ship shook and groaned as they pushed it to its limits. Damage report, Russell called out. Engine room reporting damage to the main drive, Morris said, listening to her earpiece. Chief Martinez says we can still move, but not at top speed. Russell frowned. Find us somewhere to hide and make repairs, preferably someplace the Vorax won't look. Coleman studied her charts. There's an asteroid field about 2 hours from here. It has strong magnetic properties that should help mask our signature. Set course. As the Defiant limped toward the asteroid field, Russell called his senior officers together. We've bought Earth some time, he told his weary crew. But not enough. We need to do something bigger, something that will slow down their entire fleet. Engineer Martinez looked up from a data pad, a dangerous gleam in his eyes. Captain, I've been studying the Vorax propulsion signatures. All their ships use the same type of quantum resonance engine. If we could trigger a cascading failure in one ship, it could affect their entire fleet, finished Dr. Clark. But we'd need to get inside their flagship to do it. Russell nodded slowly. Then that's exactly what we'll do. The crew looked at him in shock. Getting inside the Vorax flagship would be nearly impossible. But as they saw the determination in their captain's eyes, they knew he already had a plan. The Vorax invasion fleet gathered at their forward base. 170 warships floated in the blackness of space, preparing for the final push to Earth. At the center of this massive force was the flagship, the Dominion. It was 5 times larger than any other ship in the fleet. Its crystal hull gleamed in the light of a nearby sun. Grand Admiral Kazarek stood on the bridge of the Dominion. He was the most decorated military leader in Vorax history. His scales were darker than most Vorax, showing his age and experience. He had conquered 12 species in his long career. Humans would be the 13th. Report on the human resistance, Kazarek ordered. A junior officer approached with a data pad. The humans have been causing minor disruptions throughout our territory, Admiral. 3 fuel depots damaged, 6 supply ships destroyed, and 4 communication relays disabled. How many ships are they using for these attacks? Our commanders believe they face a battle group of 10 to 15 vessels. Kazarek made a dismissive gesture with his clawed hand. A desperate effort by a doomed species. These attacks are merely an annoyance. Our main fleet remains intact. There is one more thing, Admiral, the officer said nervously. The attacks show a pattern. The humans seem to know our patrol routes and defense positions too well. Kazarek's yellow eyes narrowed. You suggest they have spies among us? Or advanced intelligence gathering capabilities we didn't expect? Kazarek considered this. Increase security on all communications. Change patrol routes randomly. The humans may be clever, but they are still primitive. Their technology is no match for ours. As Kazarek finished speaking, an alarm sounded on the bridge. What is that? He demanded. A ship has appeared on our sensors, a bridge officer reported. It's a human vessel. Show me. The main screen displayed a battered human warship moving slowly toward the Vorax fleet. Its engines were glowing unevenly, suggesting damage. It's alone? Kazarek asked, surprised. Yes, Admiral. And its weapons are powered down. Kazarek studied. the image with interest. A single ship approaching an entire fleet? Either they are fools or they are desperate. Perhaps both. A communication officer spoke up. "Admiral, the human ship is broadcasting a message." "Let me hear it." The voice of a human filled the bridge. "This is Captain Sam Russell of the USS Defiant. We request asylum. Our government has abandoned us for trying to negotiate peace with the Vorax hierarchy." Xerek's mouth stretched into what passed for a smile among his species. "It seems not all humans are ready to die for their doomed cause. Bring them into the main hangar. I want to see these creatures surrender personally." On board the Defiant, Captain Russell stood with Lieutenant Morris, Dr. Clark, and Engineer Martinez. They all wore their formal uniforms. "Everyone clear on the plan?" Russell asked quietly. They all nodded. The plan was dangerous, but it was their best chance to save Earth. "Athena is ready," Martinez said softly. The ship's AI had been prepared for its critical role. "Remember," Russell said, "we only get one chance at this. Make it count." The Defiant was pulled into the massive hangar of the Dominion by invisible beams. Through the viewports, they could see hundreds of Vorax soldiers surrounding the airlock. "Weapons ready. Show time," Russell muttered. When the Defiant was secured, the 4 humans walked to the airlock. The rest of the crew remained hidden on the ship, ready for their part of the plan. Russell took a deep breath and opened the airlock door. The humans stepped out with their hands raised. The bright lights of the hangar made them squint. The air smelled strange, with a hint of something like cinnamon. Vorax soldiers formed a tight circle around them, weapons pointed at their hearts. Grand Admiral Xerek walked forward, towering over the humans. His yellow eyes studied them with cold interest. "I am Grand Admiral Xerek," he said. His voice was deep and had a strange echo to it. "You are the first humans I have seen in person. You are smaller than I expected." Russell kept his face neutral, showing neither fear nor anger. "We request asylum, Admiral. Our government has abandoned us for trying to negotiate peace." Xerek laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the hangar. "Your species learns wisdom too late. Why should I grant you asylum instead of simply killing you?" "Because we have valuable information," Russell replied. "Fleet movements, defense plans, weapon specifications. And you would betray your own kind so easily? We tried to prevent this war. When our leaders rejected peace, they betrayed us first." Xerek studied the humans for a long moment. "Your ship, the Defiant, is it one of those that has been attacking our outposts?" Russell nodded. "Yes. We were trying to force our government to the negotiating table by creating a crisis. It didn't work." "Interesting." Xerek turned to his officers. "Take them for interrogation. I want all information they have about Earth's defenses. As for their ship, I want it studied. Their technology may be primitive, but it has proven troublesome." As the humans were led away, Martinez pressed a small device hidden in his palm. No one noticed the slight shimmer as Athena, the ship's AI, transferred itself into the Dominion systems through the connection created by the tractor beams. The Vorax soldiers marched the humans through the vast corridors of the flagship. The walls were made of the same crystal-like material as the hull, with glowing lines of energy running through them. "Your ship is impressive," Dr. Clark said, looking around with apparent awe. In truth, she was memorizing the layout, noting potential weak points. "The Dominion is the pride of the hierarchy," a Vorax officer replied proudly. "No species has ever defeated a Vorax flagship." "I can see why," Russell said. "How many crew members does it have?" "Over 12,000, the largest vessel in known space." The humans were separated and taken to different interrogation rooms. Russell was strapped to a chair facing a blank wall. A Vorax interrogator entered, carrying what looked like medical equipment. "This does not need to be painful," the interrogator said. "Tell me what I wish to know, and you will be treated well." Russell appeared to consider this. "What do you want to know first?" "Earth's defense grid. How is it structured?" Russell began to share information, all of it carefully prepared misinformation that would waste the Vorax's time. He needed to keep talking for exactly 3 hours. the time needed for Athena to complete its work. Back on the Defiant, the remaining crew waited tensely. Lieutenant Johnson sat at the weapons controls, fingers poised over the special targeting sequence Martinez had programmed. They had played the part of a surrendering ship, but the Defiant was far from powerless. 2 hours and 56 minutes, Coleman said, watching the countdown. Almost time. Johnson nodded. Let's hope the captain and the others can get back here before things get loud. In the heart of the Dominion, Athena silently spread through the ship's systems. The AI was mapping the vast network, preparing for the moment when it would take control. The Vorax had no idea that their greatest enemy was already inside their flagship, counting down to the moment of truth. 3 hours after Captain Russell and his team were captured, they made their move. In his interrogation room, Russell had just finished giving false information about Earth's defenses when the lights suddenly went out. Emergency red lights came on, casting strange shadows on the walls. The Vorax interrogator looked around in confusion. What is happening? Russell smiled in the dim light. That would be the Fury part of our visit. Across the massive Vorax flagship, chaos erupted as Athena took control of the internal systems. Doors slammed shut, trapping Vorax soldiers in corridors. Life support systems in empty sections shut down to save power. The artificial gravity in some areas increased, pinning Vorax to the floor, while in other sections it decreased, leaving them floating helplessly. In his own interrogation room, Engineer Martinez easily broke free of his restraints, which Athena had secretly unlocked. He knocked out his surprised guard and grabbed the alien's weapon. In the rooms next door, Lieutenant Morris and Dr. Clark did the same. The 3 humans met in the corridor outside, where Captain Russell joined them seconds later. Is everyone okay? Russell asked. They all nodded. Each looked tired, but determined. Athena is in full control of their internal systems, Martinez reported. But it won't last. Their tech people are fighting back. We have maybe 20 minutes before they lock her out. Then we need to move fast, Russell said. Engineering section is 3 levels down. Let's go. The 4 humans moved through the darkened corridors of the Dominion. Athena guided them through Russell's earpiece, warning them of danger and opening doors in their path. When they encountered Vorax soldiers, the AI would create distractions, flickering lights, strange sounds, or sudden air pressure changes, allowing the humans to slip past unnoticed or giving them the advantage in firefights. Meanwhile, in the Dominion's hangar, the surrendered Defiant suddenly powered up. Its weapons, enhanced with the experimental Thunderbolt technology, were fully charged and ready. All systems online, Lieutenant Johnson reported to no one in particular. He was alone on the bridge, the rest of the skeleton crew at battle stations throughout the ship. Waiting for the captain's signal, Xeric raged on the bridge of his flagship as his officers tried to regain control of their systems. How is this possible? He demanded. How can one primitive AI override our technology? A tech officer worked frantically at a control panel. It's not just an AI, Admiral. It's something more advanced. It seems to be everywhere in our systems at once. Find it and destroy it, Xeric roared. And find those humans. Russell and his team reached the engineering section after several close calls. 2 Vorax engineers tried to stop them, but Morris and Martinez took them down with quick shots. From their borrowed weapons, the engine core of the Dominion was a massive crystal structure that pulsed with blue-white energy. It filled the center of a room larger than the entire Defiant. That's it, Martinez said with awe in his voice. The quantum resonance engine. It's beautiful. And deadly, Dr. Clark added. The energy density readings are off the charts. Martinez went to a control panel and began working quickly. I need to modify the resonance frequency. When they try to power up their engines again, it will create a cascading quantum field that will spread to any Vorax ship with the same engine signature. How long will it take? Russell asked, keeping watch at the door. 3 minutes to set it up, Martinez replied, his fingers moving quickly over the alien controls. After that, we have 3 more minutes to get off this ship before the cascade begins. Do it, Russell ordered. Then he touched his earpiece. Athena, tell the Defiant to be ready for extraction and start the next phase. Throughout the Dominion, The lights suddenly came back on. The ship's internal communication system activated, and the voice of Grand Admiral Kazarek filled every corridor and room. "Attention all crew. The human intruders have been captured. Return to normal operations. Engine restart will commence in 6 minutes." But it wasn't really Kazarek's voice. It was Athena, perfectly mimicking the Admiral to create confusion and buy them time. "Nice touch," Morris said with a small smile. 2 minutes, Martinez reported, still working on the engine controls. Russell's earpiece crackled. "Captain, this is Johnson. The Defiant is powered up and ready, but we have a problem. The hangar is filling with Vorax troops." "Start creating a path," Russell ordered. "We're on our way." In the hangar, Johnson targeted the Defiant's weapons at key structural points. The experimental Thunderbolt technology fired precise beams that cut through the Dominion's internal walls, creating a direct path from the engine room to the hangar. "Done," Martinez announced. "The modification is complete. When they try to restart their engines, the cascade will begin." "How long do we have?" Russell asked. 6 minutes before they attempt restart, then 3 minutes until the cascade reaches critical. 9 minutes to get off this ship, Russell said. "Let's move." The 4 humans ran through the corridors, following the path of destruction the Defiant's weapons had created. Vorax soldiers fired at them from side passages. Morris was hit in the shoulder but kept running. Clark helped her as Russell and Martinez provided covering fire. They reached the hangar to find the Defiant hovering just above the deck. Its weapons blazed at the Vorax troops who were trying to bring it down. Johnson had the boarding ramp. "Down waiting for them, run!" Russell shouted. They sprinted across the open hangar floor. Vorax energy weapons fired all around them, hitting the deck at their feet. Clark was hit in the leg. Morris, despite her own injury, grabbed Clark and dragged her the final distance. Martinez reached the ramp first, then turned to help the others. Russell was the last one in, backing up the ramp while firing at the pursuing Vorax. "Go! Go! Go!" Russell shouted as he hit the ramp controls. The Defiant's engines roared to life. The ship spun in place and fired all weapons at the hangar doors, blasting a hole large enough to fly through. The small human vessel shot out of the Vorax flagship like a bullet. "All Vorax ships are powering engines to pursue," Coleman reported. "From navigation." "Just as we planned," Russell said grimly. "Get us clear. Maximum speed." The Defiant accelerated away from the Vorax fleet. Behind them, the Dominion's engines began their restart sequence. The modified quantum resonance created a ripple effect that spread invisibly through space. One by one, the Vorax ship's engines failed, then overloaded in brilliant explosions of light. The reaction spread through the fleet like a wave, crippling or destroying ship after ship. Grand Admiral Kazarek watched in horror from his command center as his invincible armada fell apart around him. "What have they done?" he whispered. The Defiant, battered but unbroken, set course for Earth. Behind them, instead of an invasion fleet, there was only debris and a few surviving Vorax ships, sending desperate distress calls. 2 weeks later, the Defiant limped into Earth orbit. They were met by a formation of honor ships. Earth had prepared for invasion but received heroes instead. In the aftermath, the remaining Vorax leaders requested peace negotiations. They had learned a painful lesson. Never judge a species by a single ship, especially if that ship is human. As Captain Russell stood on the observation deck watching Earth rotate below, Admiral Foster joined him. "The Vorax underestimated us," Foster said. "They won't make that mistake again." Russell nodded. "Neither will anyone else who hears this story. The Defiant would be repaired, upgraded, and eventually returned to the stars. But its legacy was already secure, a single ship that had faced an empire and taught them the meaning of human fury."